it's currently almost 5 o'clock, about 10 minutes short, and I have yet to film anything for the vlog. I filmed one time lapse, that's it. I've been working on programming the entire day. Well, I woke up kind of late, like usual, and then I've been working on programming. I had to write this program here, just tells you if this array matches this array. This is a boolean telling if it's true or false. This is an overloaded method, and the idea of this program is that a user will enter 5 numbers into 2 arrays, which the first one is right here, and they're regular numbers with no decimals, and then it calculates the average and then returns it from this method back up to here and prints it out. And then another array that's doubles, as in decimals, they enter 5 of those, then it calculates the average and then it returns it back up to that print statement. And then this program takes grades, puts them in an array, and then it calculates the average of the amount of grades you enter. If you don't have 10 grades, then you just enter -1 and it takes however many you entered. It calculates the average of the grades, and then it will tell you how many grades are above and below the average, and then it prints it out right here in these 3 statements. And then this statement just reprints the entire array of numbers that you entered, just to confirm you entered the right numbers. I know for some of you, you have not a clue what I just said, but that's kind of the idea why I'm sharing it. You might learn a little bit of something, even though you probably had no intentions on learning. You're going to learn it anyways, just by watching and kind of seeing what's going on. Hey, it's not complaining. It's a fantastic sign. Well, not only I went over it last night, I added essentials to here. I'm trying to learn how to use it. It doesn't necessarily make sense to me. You're supposed to be able to add computers and you can back them up. You can set backup times and everything. Well, with Windows 10, I'm having a very hard time getting the software, the connector software. Here's the software that you got to install. We'll click it. We'll save it to the desktop. Click run. So that comes up, but then that comes up. Not a clue. I read a bunch of forums and they're all saying that Windows 10 is just really bad with it. So what I think I'm going to do, so I have user accounts backed up to the server, is I'm going to set it up to where there'll be roaming profiles, but I also made it to where the security for the roaming profiles is insanely high. I mean, I made it to where if you open the profiles folder, you can see other people's profile file, but if you try to open it, it absolutely forbids you to open it, even if you're an administrator. Before, when I initially had this big box hooked up, it was also running DHCP, which was supplying all the IP addresses to what at the time was my personal network. I separated the house from this room, so when I work on stuff like this, I didn't interfere with them. Now it's tied to the whole thing, and plus this one doesn't run anymore. They're all hosted out there. And then I have a line that runs underground, comes up through the ceiling, comes down, and it ties into that switch that's up there. And then a main line from the modem/router is out in the living room. And then there's other stuff that ties everything else together. And this house has been a huge work in progress with internet. Because the house is so long, it's not a normal square, it's really hard to get coverage in this whole house. And I've been fighting that for a long time. It's just, I can't do everything that I want to do because it's it's expensive. Buying the equipment that we need to really get it set up is just expensive, and none of us wants to spend the money, meaning as in my grandparents or me. But anyways, I don't want those servers to host DHCP. I want the router itself to host DHCP. And the problem with that is I was having a hard time getting computers to join the domain because it was complaining that it couldn't find the domain. And I couldn't figure out how to get it to where I could get it to join the domain without the server hosting DHCP. And I finally think I got it set up to where I could tie the DNS servers together and it's able to link each other but not interfere with communicating with the outer web. I'm using my laptop as a test computer. You can see here, tied to the domain. Figuring that out alone by itself took like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It was a struggle figuring that out, for sure. I do have some really good news though. Last night, pretty late at night, I was contacted by the that skateboard company that I mentioned about a month ago with the electric skateboard. What was their name? It's Pure Energy Wheels. But the owner contacted me and said that they have a new board coming out. It releases in April. It's an actual miniature board. It's 30 inches long by 9 inches wide. And if you pre-order now, you get 2 batteries with it. It goes up to 21 miles an hour. It's a nice board. It looks really nice. He said that he would give me a test ride on it. So I replied back to his comment, said I was interested in doing that. And I haven't heard back yet. Hopefully we'll hear back soon. But hopefully coming up soon, we're going to be checking out one of these skateboards. Super excited. Unfortunately, my night of homework does not end with the programming. I have this assignment to do. I was really hoping it was going to be another one of those here. Follow these instructions and write this. Well, no, it's you have to write the SQL language again, but there's no database to follow. Like, I don't know if I need to download SQL Server. Like, in the instructions, it mentions that you can either use SQL Server, or I think you can actually just build a new database and do it that way. But, like, it's all book-based. Like, you teach yourself this entire course. He goes over nothing. There's no recordings about how to do whatever. And that's what made programming kind of hard today. Like, I had programs similar to the ones I had to write. But unfortunately, like, he was out of town this week, so he put up no recordings. So you had to teach yourself how to do some of the stuff. And unfortunately, arrays are different than they are in C++, and I've only worked with arrays in C++. I mean, they're not crazy different, but they're just a little different. Unfortunately, I will probably be working on this assignment till late.